There's a cruel joke in the universe about wealth, and it goes like this. Everyone wants the snowball of fortune at the bottom of the hill, but almost no one is willing to push the first small, wet clump of snow at the top. I've watched men for nearly a century, and the story is always the same. They see the end result, the freedom, the security, the success, and then they want it. But they misunderstand the nature of the game. That they think the game is about money. It's not. The game is about belief. I remember a young man, sharp as a tack, who came to me for advice. He had a small inheritance, about $1,000. He asked, where should I invest this to get the best return? I looked him in the eye and said, the stock market will only give you a 10% return. Your consciousness can give you a 10,000% return. Invest it there first. He looked at me confused. He thought I was being metaphorical. He wasn't ready to hear the truth. And the truth is this. Your first $1,000 or $10,000 or even $100,000 will always return to zero if it is built on a foundation of doubt. But your first true belief, a single unwavering conviction held in the face of all opposition, that is the seed from which all fortunes grow. Today, we are not going to talk about stocks or real estate. We are going to talk about the metaphysical formula for turning belief into currency. We will explore the 5 leaks in your consciousness that are draining your financial power and how plugging them is the only work you need to do to see your first true belief compound into your first $100,000. The first and most devastating leak in your consciousness is what I call the scarcity tax. It's a silent, automatic tax that your own mind levies on every dollar you receive and every opportunity you see. It's the deep-seated belief that the universe is a place of limitation. There's not enough to go around. Resources are limited. If I win, someone else must lose. When you operate under the scarcity tax, your financial life becomes a desperate struggle. You hold on to your first $1,000 with a white-knuckled grip, terrified of losing it. This fear chokes the money. It cannot grow because you are suffocating it with the energy of lack. Money, like life, must circulate to expand. Metaphysically, you are commanding the universe to show you evidence of lack. And it dutifully obliges. You see the bills, not the opportunities. You see the expenses, not the income. You are trying to build a fortune while telling the universe your primary reality is scarcity. It's like trying to build a skyscraper on a sinkhole. I once observed a brilliant baker. His cakes were masterpieces. He had $1,000 to start a small shop, but he was consumed by the scarcity tax. He worried about the cost of flour, the price of sugar, the rent. He saw every other bakery in the city not as a sign of a thriving market, but as a threat that was stealing his potential customers. And he spent so much time worrying about what he might lose that he never took the first step to actually bake and sell. His $1,000 sat in the bank, untouched, unrisked, and unmultiplied until it was eventually eroded by inflation and small expenses. He died with the idea of a great bakery, but not a single cake sold. The metaphysical formula to repeal this tax is to adopt the principle of infinite supply. You must, as a conscious discipline, replace the lie of lack with the truth of abundance. The key is to stop seeing the world as a finite pie and start seeing it as an infinite ocean. Your $1,000 is not a piece of the pie, it is a cup you have dipped into an endless sea of substance, and the ocean doesn't care how much you take. The practical work is this. Train your mind to become an abundance detective. Actively look for evidence of abundance everywhere. The countless leaves on a tree, the endless grains of sand on a beach, the sheer number of products in a single store. When you see a wealthy person, your new trained thought must be, That is wonderful. That is a reflection of the infinite source that is also available to me. You are not fighting scarcity. You are simply withdrawing your attention from it and placing it on the ever-present reality of abundance. This is the first step to plugging the leak. It is how you stop paying the tax and start allowing your capital, both mental and financial, to finally breathe and grow. The second leak is more personal, and for that reason far more insidious. I call it the unworthiness fee. This isn't a tax levied by the world, it's a fee you charge yourself for the crime of being you. It's the quiet, gut-wrenching feeling that you don't actually deserve to have $100,000. It's the voice of the inner fraud that says, who are you to be wealthy? You're not smart enough, you're not special enough, you made too many mistakes in the past. The unworthiness fee is the root cause of all financial self-sabotage. It is the reason a man will work tirelessly to accumulate his first $10,000, and then, just as it begins to grow, he will make a foolish investment, lend it to an unreliable friend, or splurge on a luxury he cannot afford. Why? Because his subconscious mind cannot handle the conflict. His outer reality of growing wealth is at war with his inner reality of feeling unworthy, and the inner reality always wins. He must unconsciously get rid of the money to restore his inner equilibrium of not being good enough. The metaphysical truth is that worth is not earned. It is inherent. The universe does not run a credit check on your soul before it delivers abundance. The creative substance of the universe is impersonal. It flows to the shape you provide it. If you provide it the shape of I am unworthy, it will dutifully fill that shape with experiences of failure and loss. I once knew a salesman, a true natural. He could sell anything to anyone. He closed a massive deal that brought him a commission of over $100,000, more money than he had ever seen. The check sat on his desk for a week. He was terrified to deposit it. He told me, Charlie, it feels like a mistake. It doesn't feel real. It doesn't feel like mine. He was charging himself the unworthiness fee. His solution: he went on a legendary week-long bender in Las Vegas, spending and gambling with a reckless abandon. He came back with nothing but stories and a massive headache. He had successfully corrected the universe's mistake and returned himself to the state of lack where he felt he belonged. The metaphysical formula to stop paying this fee is to claim your divine inheritance. You must understand that you are not a beggar hoping for scraps from the table of the divine. You are a child of the King, and the entire kingdom is your birthright. Your worth is not in question. The practical work is to shift your identity. Stop identifying with your past mistakes or your perceived flaws. Instead, at the end of each day, take inventory of your divine qualities. Did you have a creative thought? That was the divine mind thinking through you. Did you feel a moment of love or kindness? That was divine love expressing through you. Did you show patience? That was divine power acting through you. By focusing on these, you stop seeing yourself as a flawed human trying to be worthy, and you start recognizing yourself as a divine being remembering its worth. You don't need to become worthy of $100,000. You only need to stop believing the lie that you aren't. Once you stop paying the unworthiness fee, your accounts, both spiritual and financial, can finally begin to compound. The third leak is a subtle form of procrastination that masquerades as logic. It is the most common reason why brilliant plans never leave the drawing board. I call it the when-then trap. This is the belief that your inner state must be a reaction to the outer world. It's the voice that says, when I get the funding, then I will feel like a successful entrepreneur. When the money is in my account, then I will feel secure. When I see the results, then I will believe this works. This trap is so effective because it seems perfectly reasonable, but it is a complete and total inversion of the creative law of the universe. It is the equivalent of a farmer telling the soil, "When you show me a harvest, then I will plant the seed." It is a demand for proof before the act of faith, and the universe simply does not operate that way. The metaphysical truth is that consciousness is the one and only reality. The outer world is a lagging, delayed reflection of your dominant inner state. To wait for the reflection in the mirror to smile first is insanity. You must smile first. You must be it before you can see it. Your first $1,000 will never become 100,000 if you are waiting for it to feel like 100,000 first. You must feel like a person with $100,000 while you only have 1,000. I had two proteges, both with the same goal, to build a real estate empire. Both started with nothing but the idea. The first one fell into the when-then trap. He spent years reading books, attending seminars, and analyzing deals. He said, "When I find the perfect no-risk deal, then I will invest." Anyway, he was waiting for the outer world to give him a guarantee. He is still waiting today. He is the most educated and poorest real estate expert I know. The second protege understood the law. In his mind, he was already a real estate tycoon. He didn't just visualize it, he walked and talked and thought from that state. He felt the confidence, the discernment, the assurance of a man who owned 100 properties. From that state of being, he looked at the world. He wasn't looking for a perfect deal. He was looking for the first deal that his tycoon self recognized as a viable step. He found a small, undervalued property that the first man had dismissed as too much work. He bought it, fixed it up, and sold it for a small profit. He repeated the process, his inner state of tycoon guiding his every move. Today he owns that empire. One man waited for the world to make him a tycoon. The other assumed he was a tycoon, and the world rearranged itself to match. The metaphysical formula to escape this trap is the principle of assumption. The key is to reverse the sequence. It is not when then, it is I am therefore. The practical work is to dare to assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled now. Before you have any evidence, in your imagination, feel what it is like to have $100,000 in the bank. Is it relief, security, freedom? Capture that feeling. That feeling is the seed. It is the only cause. Stop waiting for the harvest to appear. Plant the seed of your assumption in the fertile soil of your mind, and the outer world will have no choice but to bear witness to its fruit. The fourth leak is a corrosive poison that not only stops your money from growing, but actively dissolves the wealth you already have. It is the poison of blame. This is the belief that your current situation is the fault of someone or something else. My business failed because of the economy. I lost my money because of that bad advice. I can't get ahead because my family never supported me. This belief is a powerful anesthetic for the ego. It numbs the pain of failure by shifting responsibility. But in doing so, it renders you completely powerless. If someone else is the cause of your problems, then you must wait for them to change in order for your life to improve. You have outsourced the control of your destiny. The metaphysical truth is that there is only one creative power in your universe, and that power is your own consciousness. To blame another is to give your divine power away to a shadow. It is to declare that a memory has more power over your present reality than you do. Furthermore, by holding a state of blame and resentment in your mind, You are creating a powerful mental mold. The universe, which is an impartial substance, will simply continue to fill that mold, bringing you more and more experiences to be resentful about. You are using the power of God to guarantee your own misery. I watched this play out with a man who lost his savings in a market crash. For years he was consumed by it. He blamed the government, he blamed the bankers, he blamed the system. Every conversation was a bitter tirade about this past event. He was so focused on the money he had lost that he was completely blind to the new opportunities that were emerging all around him in the aftermath of the crash. His friends who had also lost money but who had chosen to focus on the future went on to build new and even greater fortunes. He, however, remained stuck in the past, a monument to a single unforgiven loss. He didn't lose his money in the crash. He lost it every single day for the next 20 years by refusing to let go of the blame. The metaphysical formula to neutralize this poison is radical ownership. This is the profound and liberating acceptance that you and you alone are the author of your experience, not of the external events perhaps, but of your reaction to them, which is the only thing that matters. The practical work is forgiveness. But not forgiveness as a moral platitude. It is forgiveness as a ruthless act of self-preservation. You forgive the person or the event not for their sake, but for yours. You cut the energetic cord that ties you to that past failure. You declare that memory to be dead and powerless. A powerful exercise is to say, either aloud or in your mind, I am the sole power in my universe. I refuse to energize the past. I reclaim all the creative power I have given to that event, and I now invest it in the reality I choose to create today. Stop drinking the poison of blame and expecting your circumstances to get better. Take ownership. Reclaim your power. The moment you stop being a victim of your history, you become the master of your destiny. The fifth and final leak is the most subtle and in many ways the most dangerous. It is the invisible ceiling you place on your own success. I call it the just enough ceiling. This is the belief that the goal is simply to be comfortable, to be safe, to get by. It's the voice of false humility that whispers, you don't need to be rich, you just need enough to pay the bills. Wanting more is greedy. Be content with your lot in life. Society praises this mindset. It calls it being grounded or realistic. But metaphysically, it is a direct command to the infinite potential of the universe to stop flowing. You are essentially building a dam in the river of abundance. You are telling the source of all creation, this far and no further. And the universe, which is always obedient, gives you exactly what you have decreed, just enough. You live in a state of perpetual mediocrity, never truly poor, but never experiencing the exhilarating freedom of true overflowing abundance. The metaphysical truth is that the fundamental nature of life is not mere survival. It is continuous, joyous, and ever-expanding expression. A rose does not bloom just enough. It explodes into the fullest expression of its being. The sun does not shine with just enough light. It floods the solar system with its radiance. To desire more life, more wisdom, more creativity, more abundance is not greed. It is your spiritual duty. It is aligning yourself with the very impulse of God. I knew a talented writer who dreamed of being a novelist, but he was trapped under the just enough ceiling. He got a stable job as a technical writer that paid the bills. He told himself, this is good, I have enough. But every night the dream of the novel haunted him. He was keeping his racehorse in the stable, as I like to say. One day I asked him, who are you serving by playing small? Who benefits from your great novel remaining unwritten? question shook him. He realized his contentment was actually a form of fear, the fear of failure, the fear of success, the fear of his own potential. He made a new decision. He decided to smash the just enough ceiling. He started waking up an hour earlier every day to work on his novel. He wasn't just writing a book, he was claiming his right to a larger life. The process energized him. His new confidence led to a promotion at his day job. The novel was eventually published. He didn't just get enough, he created an overflowing abundance both creatively and financially because he dared to desire more. The metaphysical formula to shatter the ceiling is the principle of polar expression. The key is to give yourself permission to want more. Not more than others, which is ego, but simply more of your own potential brought to life. The practical work is to redefine your goals. Instead of aiming to pay the bills, aim to create a level of wealth that would allow you to solve interesting problems and help others. Instead of a goal of $50,000 a year, set a goal that both excites and terrifies you. Give the universe a grander vision to fulfill. Your first $1,000 will never become 100,000 if your subconscious goal is only to have 2,000. You must lift the ceiling. You must decide that you are available not just for enough, but for more than enough. You must claim your divine inheritance, not just of survival, but of magnificent, overflowing, and ever-expanding abundance. So, there they are. The 5 great leaks in your consciousness, the silent saboteurs of your fortune, the scarcity tax which convinces you the pie is too small, the unworthiness fee which tells you that you don't deserve a slice, the when-then trap which insists you must eat last, the poison of blame which makes you curse the baker instead of baking your own, and the just enough ceiling which tells you to be content with the crumbs. These are not minor psychological quirks, they are the pillars of the prison of poverty. And the truly difficult part is this, that prison is comfortable, it is familiar, and everyone you know is likely a prisoner right alongside you. To choose to plug these leaks is to choose to be different. When you start operating from a consciousness of abundance, your friends still paying the scarcity tax will call you reckless. When you claim your inherent worth, your family still charging themselves the unworthiness fee may call you arrogant. When you assume the feeling of your wish fulfilled now, the world still caught in the when-then trap will call you a delusional dreamer. This is the real battle. It is not fought in the stock market or in the office. It is fought in the quiet of your own mind at 2 in the morning when doubt creeps in. It is fought when you get a bill in the mail and your first instinct is to feel fear, but you choose to feel faith instead. It is fought when someone criticizes you and your first instinct is to feel unworthy, but you choose to remember your divine inheritance. This requires the discipline of a soldier and the faith of a saint. And it brings you to a fundamental choice, a choice you must make not once, but 1,000 times a day. What do you want more? The validation of a world that is built on a foundation of lack and limitation, or the exhilarating freedom that comes from building your own world on the foundation of truth? You have to decide what is more important, fitting in with the other prisoners or tasting the air of freedom for the first time. I made that choice long ago, and I can tell you without a shadow of a doubt that one moment of true inner freedom is worth more than a lifetime of external approval. This is your moment of choice. The battlefield is your own mind. The enemy is your old way of thinking, and the prize is everything. So how does your first true belief become $100,000? It is not by believing in the $100,000. That is the great secret. Believing in the money is idolatry. It is worshiping the effect rather than the cause. Your first true belief is to believe in the cause, and that cause is your own consciousness. Your first true belief is the unwavering conviction that your inner world creates your outer world. That is the belief that turns a man from a creature of circumstance into a creator of circumstances. When you truly believe this, everything changes. You stop paying the scarcity tax because you know the pie is infinite and baked in your own imagination. You stop paying the unworthiness fee because you know your worth is not earned, but is as inherent as your own consciousness. You escape the when-then trap because you know you must be it on the inside before you can see it on the outside. You neutralize the poison of blame because you know you are the sole creative power in your universe, and you shatter the just enough ceiling because you know that the nature of life is not mere survival but magnificent, ever-expanding expression. Plugging these 5 leaks is the true work. It is the act of building a new consciousness, a wealth consciousness. This new consciousness is the container. Once the container is built, the universe has no choice but to fill it. The $100,000 is not the prize. It is simply the inevitable consequence. It is the shadow cast by the substance of your new belief. So your work is not to chase money. Your work is to go to the very foundation of your mind and build your first true belief. I am the source of my own supply. Live in that belief. Think from it, act from it. Let it be the first thought in the morning and the last thought at night. Do this and you will not have to go looking for your first $100,000. It will come looking for you. I am Charles Fillmore, and this is the Fillmore Key.